Namuami double two. Namuami double two. Namuami double two. Okay, thank you. Nice to see all of you. Sorry I missed last Sunday. I was tied up with the Gomonshu's event at the LA Betsuin. Before we go into our class today, just want to announce again the Fall Ohigan Seminar with Reverend Dr. Kenneth Tanaka, wonderful speaker. So he'll be here next Saturday for the seminar and Sunday for our Ohigan service. So we had our Gomonshu-sama visit us here recently, and today we're going to read an essay from his father, the former Gomonshu. The previous Gomonshu referred to as the Zenmon-sama. Our present Gomonshu doesn't have a book out in English yet, but our previous Gomonshu has this book, The Buddha's Wish for the World. And there's one chapter in here that I think is really excellent, and especially as we begin a new year again, I wanted to share this. So let's read from the former Gomonshu's book, Koshin Otani, The Buddha's Wish from the World. This is chapter 17. Life grows hollow, not from the tedium of the day, but from the hardening of the heart. Every day I do the same old thing. I can't stand it. It's so boring. Someone came to me with this complaint. How was it when you were a child? When you're going back and forth on the same road to school every day, was it boring for you then? That was a question that I put to my guest. No, when I was little, I never thought that way. Around that age, I must have still had some hope for the future. Today, I am just stuck in the rut of a tedious life. Is this how I am going to live out my life, I wonder, doing the same things over and over? I can't tell you how hopeless it feels to be caught in this rut. From what he told me, I surmised he was locked into a fixed routine. My guest told me that he had dreams for the future when he was a child. Is this indeed the reason why we do not experience life as empty when we are children? When I think back on my own childhood, I recall my life as being filled with new discoveries every day. The way back and forth to school was always the same, but there was always something new to discover. Today I saw this kind of bird. Flip it over. Today I saw a beautiful flower in bloom. These discoveries I made everywhere I looked. It was the same at school as it was at home. Someone said this. What does it mean? I was full of questions. What's that fragrance? What's it called? I was burning with curiosity. Each and every discovery was unusual and interesting, and I never found myself bored. A child's view of the world is not bound up by adult values or preconceived notions, and that alone gives a child freedom to see, hear, and feel things. When we become adults, we become stuck on a certain way of viewing things. There's a flower in bloom. We have that visual input, but then we draw upon our knowledge to determine the name of the flower and to recall the detail of which season it blooms. When we are finished naming the flower and identifying the season, there's nothing in the least interesting left. But the best we can do is say, oh, look, there is that same old flower blooming again this year. The thrill and surprise of discovery is gone. When that happens, we are no longer able to feel the sense of freshness and discovery that our situation offers, whether it is a job, meeting someone, seeing something beautiful, or reading a wonderful book. As a result, every day becomes tedious. Is there some way to prevent this from happening? When you walk down the same road, rather than say to yourself, oh, this is the same old road again, you might try to see it from the innocent perspective of the child who asks, what could there be that's different today? You will find that things that enter your field of vision are different. Depending on whether you are riding a car or walking on foot, the things that your eye perceives will naturally be different. When a small change occurs in what you're doing, and you start to see things in a slightly different way, a different world from what you were ordinarily accustomed to opens up. When that happens, you'll find that those nagging thoughts that your everyday life is tedious and boring have disappeared. Isn't the cause for the hollowness of your life due not to your life per se, but to the way you are pursuing it? In the language of Chanoyu, or tea ceremony, there is a saying, Ichigo Ichie, which means the tea ceremony is a once-in-a-lifetime event. When this ceremony is arranged, you must do it as a unique event that all of your guests will enjoy, with nothing wanting in the least. It may well be that some of your guests will be attending 3 days running, but one must never regale them with the same stories as on the previous day, nor embrace your guests with the feeling that you have just entertained them the day before. Whatever you do, this time, this moment, will never come around again. Renyo Shonin, 1415 to 1499, the 8th Monshu of our Honganji, left us these words. In the way of Buddha, there is no talk of tomorrow. See, in the way of Buddha, there is no talk of tomorrow. And further, he says, it is as if you were hearing something for the first time, and you were to let it always remain something rare and wonderful, as if hearing it for the first time. That is how it is when you are in the state of faith. You might imagine it as always wanting to be in a state of hearing something rare and wonderful. No matter how many times you hear that one thing, it is so rare and wonderful, it is as if you were hearing it for the first time. That's from Renyo Shonin's Goichidai Ki Kikigaki. Renyo Shonin is saying when a person follows the way of the Buddha, it is not possible to say, let's do this tomorrow. For in that pursuit, no matter how many times you may have heard the same talk, what you're hearing now, you listen to as if hearing it for the first time. When one listens to talks on Buddha, this is called chomon, or listening with the ears of the heart. On the wall of one temple, there is a sign that says, how to listen with the heart. 1, you should listen as if you are listening for the very first time. 2, you should listen as if the message is for you alone. 3, you should listen as if this is the last time you will ever do so in your life. When you let these words become etched in your heart, I think you will one day find you are no longer sighing over, oh, how boring each day is. So I wanted to share this because I really like this, especially at the end here where he points about these 3 how we should listen that he had noticed at a particular temple. So we should listen as if we are hearing it for the first time. See, I always make this comment so that I can repeat my sermons, and I have an excuse for repeating my sermons. See, you have to listen as if you're hearing it for the first time. No, Reverend Mark, we've heard this story 20 times already. No, you have to listen as if I could use this as an excuse to give the same sermon over and over again, but of course, you get the point. We listen as if we are hearing it for the first time. We all miss Sachi Ochiai, our wonderful member. She's just older in years now, not able to come out as often as before, but I did the Introduction to Buddhism class here, I don't know, maybe 12 times over the past 20 years, and every time Sachi would take it. And sitting there in the front row, Sachi, you've taken this course 10 times already. You don't need to take this course. Oh, no, every time I learn something new. See? So if she has that beginner's mind. Think of those first-time experiences. It's so fresh, exciting, right? First day of elementary school, getting on the school bus. First day of high school. First day of college. First date. First kiss. I'll stop there with all the firsts, okay? First time to Disneyland, But first always has that anticipation, excitement, something new. We introduced 2 new Dharma school students today. The parents were telling me their little boy was just so excited. And I hope he continues on the path and maintains that beginner's mind. The second point, you should listen as if the message is for you alone. Now, although this sounds simple, it's a really difficult thing to really do. And I've given this example many, many times, so bear with me, but those of you maybe hearing it for the first time. Once I spoke at another temple, this is many years ago, and I gave this message for a special service. Afterwards, they've got tea and refreshments, and so I'm mingling with the members, and One lady comes up to me and she thanks me. Oh, Reverend, that was such a wonderful sermon you gave today. Thank you so much. You talked about self-centeredness, the ego self. Really wonderful, wonderful sermon. So, wow, this lady, she was really listening. But then she said, but the one person in my life that really needed to be here to hear that sermon is my husband. He's the most self-centered, ego-centered guy. He should have been here to hear that sermon. She missed the whole point, didn't she? She missed the whole point of the message. All the time, I'm talking about self-centeredness. Oh, yeah, that's my, oh, yeah, that too, that's my husband. She's thinking of her husband. She's not looking at the message as pointing out herself. You could go your whole lifetime, if we're not careful, you could come here for your whole lifetime and miss the point. See? That's why it's such a subtle thing, sounds so simple, but really difficult to take it in this subjective way that, no, the message is for me. It's not talking about my husband or my boss or someone else like that. See? So that second point, very, very important. The third, you should listen as if this is the last time you will ever do so in your life. And then he also mentioned that in tea ceremony, they have this saying of ichigo ichie. Ichigo ichie means every experience in life is like the first time and it's like the last time. It will never be repeated again. So every day, even this occasion, it's like the first time and it's also like the last time. So the first time has that sense of anticipation and freshness, newness. If it's the last time, it has this sense of deep meaning, deep gratitude. So we listen as if this is maybe the last time. We don't think, oh, I have another month to listen or another year to listen or another lifetime to listen. No, we have to listen, come to the heart of the teachings in this life, in this moment. So this is a wonderful way of expressing it. Reverend Kubose used to always talk about this ichigo ichie, everything is like the first time and the last time. Reverend Tetsuo Uno, he also explained it this way, which I think is really wonderful. We should listen to the teachings, listen to the Dharma with the same feeling and attitude as if we're listening to our doctor give us our biopsy report. Right? I mean, maybe some of you experienced this. I've never experienced it. You have a biopsy done. Now, a week later, you see your doctor. He's going to tell you whether it's malignant or benign. It's like sitting in front of a judge, and are you going to be set free or are you going to have capital punishment? It could be a life sentence, or it could be everything is okay. Now, you're not going to sit in front of your doctor to hear the news of that biopsy and your mind is wandering and you're, texting on your iPhone. What am I going to have for lunch today? Oh, the stock market went really down. That's terrible. Let's see. Oh, doctor, what was that again about my biopsy? You're going to be sitting there. Here it comes. Benign or malignant. Benign or malignant. It's only one way or the other, And so, that's how we should listen. Reverend Uno pointed out in his talks many times. See? So let me open it up for a discussion about this essay. Maybe we can even talk about whether you feel life is boring, because it starts out with, he talks to this person, oh, life is so boring, it's so routine. How do you feel like life is boring, or what do you do to get out of the doldrums, or any thoughts on these points about listening? Anyway, so your voice would be on eventually the YouTube, but your face or whatever won't be on. So don't worry about that. Anyone have any thoughts? Oh yeah, Trenton. We have to wait for the microphone so that people can hear.
I kind of have a funnier response.
Uh-huh.
So I teach high school math,
Right.
and I go into the day thinking, am I gonna have to give out a detention? Am I gonna have to send someone up to the office? Is there gonna be a fight I need to break up? So I love boring days. When nothing happens, those are the best days. It's like my kids are quiet, they're working hard. I'm like, what a great day. I could just sit there and walk around to help them out. So I look forward to the boring days.
That's a very interesting perspective. Right, right. Maybe many teachers can relate to that. Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. Can't imagine the challenges of being a high school teacher these days, right? Yeah, yeah. Huh? Anyone else? Yeah, Brian over there.
Hi, I think the key word in there is curiosity.
Oh,
Right, because that's what definitely keeps me going. I never have a boring day because there's more things I don't know than I do know. And I always want to know how something works or learn something. So even yesterday, we had time between basketball, and I took my youngest daughter to Home Depot to look at plants.
Yeah.
Right, there's new plants out. I just looked at this new succulent with this saturated flower I'd never seen before. Right, and the way the light was coming through, it was a little translucent. So there's this wonderment, right, if you're curious. And I guess that's just what I am, how I'm wired. But I'm always looking at everything of why or how could be, or so. I think that's what keeps it from being boring.
Good point. Reverend Kubose. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Eugene. Go ahead.
In the beginning here, it says, today I saw a beautiful flower bloom, and it made me think that somebody said, or I read somewhere, that if you're always running, all gardens appear the same. But if you slow down, you can see the beauty of all gardens.
Oh, wow, that's a really nice saying. Yeah, that's very beautiful. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. But, over here, Jim. Oh, okay, Christina, and then Jim. John.
I really love that, what you just said. That was so lovely, and it made me think of something, not necessarily with a garden, but with hiking. Certain areas, sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I'll think, well, it's not like Yosemite or Sequoia. And one time, my boyfriend and I, we were just hiking in Newport. And it was a nice little area, nothing crazy, but just going through there slowly, like my boyfriend suggested to do, we saw these beautiful blue dragonflies. And I was like, wow, I would have never even thought that I could have even have discovered something different and something that looks mostly the same had we not slowed down. So that you reminded me of that. Thank you.
Yeah. And you could apply that, I would think, to anything, not just gardens. You see, it's a group of kids. Oh, it's just a group of kids. Or if you slow down, you see maybe something unique about each kid or something special. Yeah, so, yeah, I would think you could apply that to anything. Yeah, John?
Yeah, I was thinking about, I keep a diary. I've had a diary for, about 40 years.
Really?
But what I've done is when I hear an interesting talk, like one of your talks at sermon, church, I write down my thoughts about what I thought about your talk.
Oh, interesting.
Then if I hear the same talk years later,
Yeah.
I'll write down what my views were now, and I would make some comparisons on how I found something different with your talk, and that's where I find listening to the same talk has its rewards.
Well, that's very interesting. Maybe that might even be something that might be a good suggestion for Shin Buddhist way of life as a way of self-reflection. My dad used to keep a diary, but it was always just had dinner with so-and-so and went golfing with so, and he liked to look back at when was that when we went out to dinner, and then, oh yeah, it was 2 years ago. So he kept that kind of diary, but not like yours in terms of reflection. I think it's a really wonderful thing to do. Yeah. Stacy?
It triggers some interesting memories when we're talking about things that we might have missed. My family was on a vacation years ago, and we were headed to Lake Powell. And we were staying near the Grand Canyon, and we were driving along the Grand Canyon. And the whole point, from my family's perspective, was to get up as early as possible to get to the lake as soon as possible. And I fought like nobody's business to get us to pull over and watch the sunrise at the Grand Canyon, because how many people get to see the
Yes.
sunrise at the Grand Canyon? And it nearly caused a riot. But I got to see the sunrise of the Grand Canyon. And I'll never forget it. I was
Yeah.
grateful for that.
Wow, wow. I'm sure it was stunning, huh?
The vacation was a disaster, by the way.
Thanks, Stacy. Anyone else? Any thoughts at all about talking? Oh, yes, over there. Yes, and I'm sorry, your name was
Hi, my name is Liz.
Liz. Okay,
Yes.
Liz.
First of all, thank you for picking this lecture. This is something that I struggle with a lot.
Oh.
Have always struggled with. Just sometimes it's because I'm thinking, okay, it's either unfair or I feel that I already heard this story so many times, and it tends to make me a little bit jaded and not. And I'm constantly struggling to, okay, how can I listen to this person's problems and be able to listen with an open mind and be kind. And even if it's something that I cannot help, at the very least, make them feel that this is something that somebody's listening to them, which most of the times this is how people just want to be listened to.
Right, right.
And so when I was reading this really hit close.
Are you a counselor or something?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So it's hard not to just, here's another person
Right.
giving their,
So I constantly have, by my desk, I have little sayings. So what I try to do is I have the Amida's golden chain.
Oh, really?
So I'm like, gotta keep my link right, strong, and try to be kind, try to be patient, try to listen to people. That's how I do it, but I'm constantly checking myself that I did everything that I could do for this person.
I see. I
And
see.
yeah, so this is something that I struggle with. So it was nice to, when I come here on Sundays, I am re-energizing myself to go through the week, and then on Sunday, and then I feel good about it
Oh,
again.
well, that's
But
wonderful.
Thank
That's
you.
wonderful. Yeah, and it's wonderful what you're doing as a counselor too, because, yeah. Okay, thank you. I think, the Dharma School children might be getting out. Maybe we should close here, but thank you for sharing all of your thoughts. We'll close with Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.